So in this session, we will have on the side of the European Union, Mr. David Boswarthick, who is a Director of New Technologies at the European Standardization Body, ETSI. David, the floor is yours.
Good morning, good afternoon. Normally the presentation will be made by a video. So if the Interco team could launch the video, that'd be great. Thank you.
Hello, my name is David Boswarthick and I am the ETSI Director of New Technologies. Today I'm going to present to you the ETSI approach to research and standards for beyond 5G and 6G. First of all, I'd like to present ETSI. We are an independent non-for-profit standards organisation based in Europe with over 930 individual members from 63 countries over 5 continents. So although we're based in Europe, we're very international. What I wanted to draw out in this slide was the fact that we have over 14% of our membership, which actually come from public, private research organisations and universities, which makes a very significant subcategory in our membership. Innovation really is a part of our driving force. What we've seen is that research and innovation is in fact the lifeblood of ETSI's technical work. What I can present in this slide is how we are encouraging innovation and research and new ideas into ETSI through multiple manners. We can see in the ETSI board, we've set up 2 dedicated groups, one which is called Board RISE, which is looking at establishing better links toward research, European research platforms, European research projects, and individual universities. Another board group, which is called Board Trend, which is really looking at how to map future technology evolutions and see how, as these technologies arrive, they will become relevant to ETSI standardization. And I'll talk about this at greater depth later on. And finally, I'll present the ETSI Net Department, of which I'm a member. Our job is at looking at future technology evolutions, enabling research and innovation to be better brought into standards, and finally creating new groups such as technical bodies, ISGs, and others inside ETSI. So you can see that innovation really is a lifeblood of ETSI's technical work. So, presenting the ETSI Technical Radio. So this is produced by the Board Trend Group, and we started this activity about 2 years ago, 18 months ago, and we decided to study which are the most relevant future technology trends which will have an impact on ETSI's future technology standards evolution. So through analysing many publicly available reports, I think there were 15 or more, we looked at what may be the top 10 most relevant technology trends to ETSI in the future 5, 6, 7 years. We selected those trends and then we did a deep dive on what the impact of those trends may be and how they may have an evolution in the ETSI existing standards work or future standards work. This was published as a white paper in April of 2021, which you can download from this link, and has also been promoted to several external standards bodies and partner organisations to gain their feedback. So it's very difficult to say which are the biggest technology trends of the future. So we divided it down into 10 big areas. There's nothing amazingly new here. They're pretty obvious ones, but it's important to look at the details inside. So one of the top 10 is obviously the evolution of mobile networks, so moving from 4G to 5G advanced to 6G. The use of artificial intelligence in the device, in the network, in the service. Autonomous networks, so how networks can better manage themselves and even self-define themselves through self-healing and self-synthesizing networks. The big horizontal domain of cybersecurity, looking at security, trust, privacy, and how in fact to use AI to provide security. Distributed ledgers, permission distributed ledgers, otherwise known as blockchain is a more popular form. And the area of data dynamics or big data. How do you name data? How do you manage data? How do you share data between multiple vertical industries? And also augmented, virtual and mixed reality or extended reality. This is becoming a very important part of future technologies. Internet of Thing and the future evolution. And the topics around quantum, so quantum safe and quantum key distribution, and also the future evolutions. And finally, numerous autonomous systems, so robotics, unmanned vehicles, drones and such things. So these are the 10 divisions we had in the technology radar. So what we're doing in ETSI now is looking at what may be the future trends which are not captured in the technology radar, which would be important and relevant to ETSI's future work. Here we've identified a few ideas, including photonics, which we certainly will include in the future version, terahertz, sub and full terahertz, which bring in an interesting element of position, navigate and sensing networks, reconfigurable intelligent surfaces, which we'll explain a little bit more later on, optical wireless communications, non-terrestrial networks, adding AI to the edge and cloud, making a more intelligent distributed edge, the evolution of quantum networking to include such things as quantum communications, quantum internet, metrology, clocking and sensing using quantum technologies, the unification of the computing and networking fabrics using high-performance computing, further evolution of software-defined radio and software-defined networking, and also a very important technology area which we've yet to capture is the whole issue of sustainability, energy sustainability, resource sustainability, and even material sustainability. How can we optimize these areas of work? Also, we've seen that there are a number of popular use cases which are often used in industry, including digital twins, holographic communications, monitoring of the state of the Earth, metaverse, augmented reality areas, and also one which we're yet to cover, which is the device of the future, moving beyond the traditional handheld device. What will the devices of the future be? So these may be use cases and domains to be included in the technology radar in the future. So how does ETSI approach beyond 5G and 6G research and standardization? Well, currently operators are deploying 5G networks all across the globe. Currently there are over 170 commercial 5G networks which have already been deployed, covering 7% of the world's populations. This is information sourced from the GSMA as of November 2021. It's important that we use caution when using the term 6G to avoid diluting the impact of 5G rollouts today. In ETSI, we tend only to speak of research and pre-standardization work for candidate technologies for beyond 5G, 6G. The current assumption is that 6G services may be deployed as early as 2030, but of course expectations can change and often do change due to global market pressure. 6G is currently at the vision and research phase. This is why it's important to share our visions and research timelines globally so we can all align on a single vision. Initial study items for 6G are not expected to be seen in 3GPP SA1 until around 2025-2026. Important to note that 5G evolution and 6G developments will run as parallel tracks for several years beyond 2030. One example of how we're bringing new technologies into ETSI using pre-standards is the new ISG RIS, Reconfigurable Intelligent Services, that was built in ETSI in September 2021. This initiative took a number of European and national research projects and fed their output into a pre-standardization group in ETSI. This is very interesting because it allows the community to build on these concepts, build understanding of the technology, and then make the standards or the pre-standards mature so it can be taken into 3GPP and then on to global service deployment. In conclusion, ETSI has made a technology radar which provides a high-level description of potential ICT trends. It is open for consultation and feedback is welcome and encouraged from all. Early 6G is expected sometime around 2030 alongside an evolved 5G. Now is the time to share our 6G visions, research and standardization roadmaps. ETSI has an important role to play in linking research into pre-standards in order to feed the global 6G standardization activities in 3GPP. Thank you very much for your attention, and I look forward to receiving any questions you may have.
Well, thank you to Colin and the video and for presenting what we're doing in the European Union in terms of work on standardization or pre-standardization. And now I pass the floor to Dr. Yongyun Chung, who is the team leader of mobile communication standards at TTA.
Thank you for your introduction. And I'm Yongjun Chung from TTA. Firstly, I would like to share my presentation. Just a minute. Can you see my screen? Okay. Yeah, I think it's okay for everyone. Yeah, yeah, thank you. And earlier, I actually presented a lot of good information on latest activities, and I also would like to briefly introduce the main activities of TTA on 5G Advanced and 6G in a similar context. And this shows domestic and international standardization process in Korea on 5G, beyond 5G and 6G, and related TTA's major activities. First, at the international level, TTA coordinated domestic activities through the operation over mirror committees for ITU and APT, and harmonizes international standards with national standards. And also, since 1998, we have been coordinating and operating the program of 3GPP as an operating partner and playing the role of a proponent of 3GPP technology for ITU, IMT recommendations. And in addition, as 6G standardization work has begun at the ITU last year, and we newly operate the 6G standard research laboratory to strengthen international standardization to the entire 6G cycle. And in the area of domestic standardization activities, TTA developed TTA standards through TTA standardization committees working with the ICT standardization forum. And we provide standardization strategies every year to strengthen the domestic ecosystem. And today I would like to introduce more information on these points highlighted by red color for our further collaboration. Our first 6G Standard Research Lab, which is a project name and funded by IITP, is aiming to facilitate 6G standardization at the government level and policy level for a long period of 8 years. And TTA, ETSI, and Korea University participated in this project to reflect the national R&D plan into the 6G vision and trend work of I2R Working Party 5D. In line with the industry university coordination and according to MSIT's 6G R&D strategy. And last year, we suggested the ITU 6G timeline and usage scenarios through industry cooperation. In particular, it is also proposed 6G usage scenarios as an example for further discussion within ITU to support various application and AI native usage scenarios. And domestic standardization is in progress through the TTA Standardization Committee. We publish over 280 TTA standards per year through 2 annual technical assembly meetings. The TTA Technical Assembly consists of 8 technical committees and 54 project groups. Among them, TC11 is promoting standardization of mobile communication technology, as well as domestic and international cooperation by forming 5 project groups. TC11 is organized as shown in this slide, and the chair is conducted by Professor Hyun-woo Lee, who also attended as today's panel. As a technical committee, TC11 adopted the TTA standards and then report proposed by the project groups on a quarterly basis, and annually around 20 TTA standards and reports are developed. And As a close look at the role of each project group, PG 1101 is responsible for CJK I2R standardization, researching B5G and 6G, future technology trends and 6G vision development, and also through joint meetings with the standardization organization in Korea, China, and Japan, 3 times a year. They exchange information on I2R, WG, APG, and 3GPP activities, and try to develop joint contribution. And PG 1102 and PG 1103 are in charge of RAN and network aspect, respectively, and promoting TTA standards development and activities on transposing 3GPP technical specification to TTA standards. And project group 1104 is in charge of the framework for 5G vertical service. They are researching use cases and technical requirements for each vertical service field. And PG 1105 is in charge of mobile service application field and is developing standards for interworking terminals and base stations for voice over LTE and ICS. And the key agenda of the committee for 2022 is to lead the development of 6G vision and coordinate 3GPP activities on release 17 and release 18, and promote various 5G vertical service frameworks such as Smart Factory, UAM, and NTN, AI, and develop intelligent content service standards. Yeah, for your references, this is the main publication status of TC11 last year. A lot of standard reports were developed in the 5G vertical area to keep pace with the research on various vertical features of 3GPP. And TC11 was also held a 6G vision workshop jointly with the 5G forum in Korea to look at the 6G vision and share the views from government and industries. Here's some summary, and in particular, currently more than 30 vision papers are being published internationally, and some papers submitted to ITU for their 6G vision work. Considering the ITU 6G vision work, it was an opportunity to consider together on the topic of how to utilize the message from ITU 6G vision. Because 6G vision is a departure gunshot with providing views on future usage, technical capabilities, and required spectrum ranges and bandwidth. TTA work with ICT forums in Korea, and we support their activities to strengthen the ICT standardization ecosystem. A total of 41 forums are supported now, and 4 forums were established last year, which are Satellite Communication Forum and Quantum Computing and Drone and Financial AI forums. As domestic forums are increasing along with the convergence and technical evolution, and it is expected that the basis for 5G and convergence standardization will be further strengthened through activities such as the existing 5G forum and MEC forum and 5G security forum, as well as new forums. Yeah. TTA also provides a standardization strategy map for building bridges between research and standardization. Latest version have been published on November last year as a rolling plan every year since 2002, and provide a guideline to suggest the strategic direction of government policies and private standardization activities with the latest standardization trends. In 5G and beyond 5G field, we analyze the domestic technology and standardization capability, international staging, and policy status for 23 key standardization items. Through those analyses, we provide promotion strategies, including future international standardization strategies. Currently, it is provided in Korea only, So you can check detailed information through the link below. Maybe you need a Google translation. Yeah. And it seemed from 5G, the expansion from the mobile communication centric ecosystem is moving to the mobile communication convergence service ecosystem is in progress. And in 6G, it would be good to consider commercialization profit model through the successful settlement of the convergence service area. And for that, I believe that standardization participation and cooperation from various industries are very important. I think this kind of works are very progressing particularly very well in the European Union, and Korea also trying. So it would be very good to discover new convergence fields and try to match and cooperate for further collaboration in the future. And lastly, I hope that this cooperation between European Union and Korea will be made more regular, which will lead to mutual opportunities for both the government and industry side. And thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chung. I mean, I think your closing words lead us immediately to the next part of the program. I mean, we wanted precisely after having these updates about the R&D and the standardization work in the European Union and in Korea, we then wanted to have a discussion, bringing together a short discussion. Unfortunately, we don't have enough time to have covered this